Hello and thanks very much for joining me. I'm Dean the Vaping Biker. Today we're going to be looking at an RDA from a company that I reviewed something from them a little while ago, and that was the little 1VP from Dovpo, and I thought it was a great little single coil banger, little 22mm flavour chasing RDA, which was just lovely, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm reviewing something today that has been out a little while. I think Mr. Green looked at it quite some time ago now. However, it's great for me to be able to get my hands on it, and I have been using this quite a lot. This is the dual coil and slightly interesting deck Bushido RDA from Dovpo. 24mm on 25mm on the outside, but let's go and have a little up close tour around this little pure flavour RDA. Come on then. And here we go with the packaging for the Bushido Pure Flavour RDA from Dovpo. Now, if we have a little look around this box, they're both the same, other than one slight difference, I think. Obviously, we've got Made in China there. We've got some depictions of the deck going on there. We've got designed by Bruce, manufactured by Dovpo. I don't know who Bruce is, but I'm sure he's a very nice man. And then at the top there, we do have the top caps that we've got to play with. Underneath, it does give us a little bit more information as well as a scratch and sniff. So there's something that I'll tell you when we go back up top. There's an extra bit of information on their website on this, which is quite cheery. Anyway, straightforward and easy to go with. So inside here we do get a little card as well. This card does tell us a little bit about coil placement, and you can see here that you're not supposed to have your coils going too far out, no, not too far down, and just tucked underneath the mushroom top cap, which we'll have a look at in a moment. And once again, you've got that information there, and a little "how's your father" for Instagram if you want it. So this is the gold one, and that's the stainless one, and I think they both look stunning. Now, I know these super shiny finishes aren't for everybody, but I quite like them, to be honest with you. I'm one of those strange people that quite likes them. I think they look quite cool, even though they are fingerprint magnets like you wouldn't believe. Now, one of the nice things you get with these is you do get an acrylic drip tip, which looks quite sweet on the top of there, although obviously you can take that out if you so wish. Now then, what I can also do is if I just give that a little bit of a shove, then I can flip the top cap open, and that allows you to drip quite comfortably down into your coil area, which we'll look at in a moment. But no, when it comes to the drip tips, that's the options you've got with that one. Now, they do also give you this kind of slam cap kind of affair going on as well, which is a little bit shorter. Don't know why I just put that back, because I need that one. It is a little bit shorter than this cap as well, which can help give you that little bit extra flavour if you really want it. But we do have the wider drip tip going on as well. Personally, I've been loving using this in this mode, but I'll talk about that in a little bit more when we go back up top. Now then, let's have a little look at the deck. And this is what we get to when we get a little bit closer to the RDA. You can see that we've got the Bushido Pure Flavour RDA there, and what I believe is the Bushido business going on there, and two, because this is the second one of the range, if you like. And then underneath, inside there, you will see that it is quite the domed top cap as well. And when we look at the inside of the sort of the slam cap kind of affair, that is also, so that certainly does help with flavour. Now then, when we do actually get to the deck itself, hopefully we will focus in there nice and comfortably. You can see that you do have two quite wide velocity style posts, and you can see that the gold plated one is in fact the positive. Now what happens here is the air comes into the base, and then it comes up through that centerpiece, and that center hole there is where the air comes out of. Now then, when you've got this mushroom, see this domey section going on the top there, that's actually because when you pop your coils in nice and close and underneath that dome there, when you drip through the top cap or that little flip piece, then your juice comes onto the top there and then disperses nice and smoothly, because there's no restriction on top of here, down onto your coils. Now obviously if your coils are too far out, it's going to go onto your coil and then go onto the inside, which could mean that juice will go down into that airflow. But if you're going down here onto the coil, then it should come around your coil and then down into quite a substantial little juice well going on there, which is nice and unfettered by a bunch of whole things. So the key thing here is coil placement, and we'll stick a coil in here just to show you what I'm talking about. So I changed my mind a little bit and popped these coils in, and I used the gold one because I think that's going to look quite sweet on the top of a mech. Now you can see the hood, if you like, the mushroom bit is covering around about half, if not just over half. This one could be probably have pushed in just a hint more, but around about the halfway level on the top of those coils. That means when juice goes down on top, it's going to come down on top and then cascade down and then around and over that coil and then down into the well. This one in a similar kind of fashion, and that's as simple as it goes. So the actual distribution of juice is nice and easy. If I can try and find a way of capturing it on camera, I will do and show you that just after this section, but otherwise let's go up top and have a vape. So that was the up close with the little Bushido Pure Flavour RDA from the Dovpo people. And like I said, I've stuck it on top of a brass mech, and I think that the gold on top of the brass, as long as things are polished up nicely, it matches reasonably well, which I'm quite impressed with. And I do like it. I think it looks just a sort of a quality, bit of a blingy kind of setup. Anyway, let's have a little drag on this bad boy and see what it's all about, shall we? Now then, for a flavour RDA, it does a pretty grand job. I think it looks great, and the airflow, whilst it's not quite as smooth as we had with the 1VP from those guys, it's certainly not bad at all. The flavour, I think, is pretty darn reasonable as well, and that's with a single round wire build rather than a Clapton. Once you get your Claptons in there as well, I think that does help just a wee bit more. However, single core round wire build, piece of piss, and does a damn good job. The fact that you can flick it over there like you had with the Mad Hatter and all that sort of stuff is an interesting idea, because once you do flick that open, you do just see the I don't know if you're going to be able to see that there, you do see that kind of bulbous mushroom top going on there for you to drip directly onto. And as you saw in the in that little sort of video clip there, it does allow the juice to sort of disperse and go onto your coils. Does it make it kind of do sort of accurately? No, possibly not, but it's certainly, you know, if you give it a little drip, a little bit over to one side, a little bit over to the other side, then you're laughing. It's fine and dandy. Now then, if I take this off and pop on the littler cap, we can have a little go on this bad boy. And once again, I do think it looks great. I mean, I think that little kind of extra reduction in height there makes it look quite the funky little RDA, to be honest with you. And for a 25mm, I think it looks pretty sweet. Anyway, let's have a toot with this one. Personally, I think flavour-wise, there's not really a whole heck of a lot of difference to it. That wider drip tip up top means you can take that out and pop in your 810 style, goon style rather sizes if you so wish. Which is nice if you've got things and you want to be all matchy and all that sort of stuff. Bit vapey in here already, but no, all in all, I think it's a pretty good RDA. Do I think it's sort of the dual coil version of the 1VP? No, I do not. However, I think the flavour that you get from this is pretty reasonable. The airflow, tiny bit more turbulent than we had with the 1VP, but it's still pretty reasonable, and I think it's quite an interesting idea having that air coming through the center post and then out to the coils. You do normally, here we go, normally I really get pissed off with RDAs that force you to build a certain way. That really does get on my nerves, and that's certainly something that could be classed as a negative. However, you're not really restricted in size with this, as you are with some that kind of force you to build in a certain size and a certain area of the RDA. You do have to make sure that the kind of the peak or the top piece of, that if you imagine your coil being a circle and you've got the very top piece on there, you've got to remember that if that's kind of too far out of where the mushroom top is, then your juice is going to drip down and then it's going to come backwards because it's going to go down the path of least resistance. So you do have to make sure that your the peak of your coil is kind of where that sort of mushroom piece ends. Does that make sense? Hopefully it makes sense, because what you're looking for the juice to do is obviously go down from the mushroom and then carry on going around the outside of the coil and not the inside of the coil where it's got the potential of going down into that juice hole. Bear that in mind when you're building, and I mean it is an easy one to build. I think the flavour on it is pretty darn reasonable as well. I think they look great. I really like the fact that with the kind of the flippy toppy thing, you get the little acrylic drip tip there. If you want to use your own 510s, you certainly can do so. But the fact that they give you the that little one in there, I think is pretty cool. That extra height is obviously because of the flip tip aspect of it, or the flip top aspect of it. So it makes dripping just a little bit easier, I guess, but all in all it's going to be down to preference as to which cap you use, because I don't think there's much in it when it comes to the flavour for production, and I do think the flavour is pretty damn reasonable, to be honest with you. Now then, price on these bad boys. Having a little look online, obviously you get them from the various China websites that are out there. Elementvape.com in the US has them for $34.95, although, and that's dollars obviously, although they're out of stock at the moment. I can't see anywhere in the UK with them. Let me just double check on that for you. No, the only one that's come up is eSig Warehouse at $29.99. Now, I don't know if that's a company that basically you order and then they get stuff in from China or what. I don't know. I know nothing about them. But no, for the price there at under 30 quid, I think to get the two caps, to get a really flavourful dual coil RDA, it's a pretty good little RDA that looks quite stunning, and I certainly enjoy using them. So that's about all I can say. And you can still get a pretty reasonable restricted, well, it is a very reasonable restricted lung hit from it, and so you can still get a pretty reasonable cloudage aspect as well. So that's about it. What I'm going to do is leave my subscribe button down there, a couple of videos there and there. If you like this video, please hit the like button and leave a comment down below. But I will see you very, very soon. Have it large.